Alrighty, so here we go. Thank you all once again for being on with us. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your heaven's sight. He is our strength and our redeemer, and it is in his name, which is his authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect tonight's message. Amen. 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 Do our Bible pledge real quick. This is my Bible. This is my sword, and this will I trust. For Yahshua is Lord. No sword of God shall ever be heard. For this is my Bible, and this is Yah's word. Hashem Yahweh. Amen. Um, so basically tonight we're just gonna jump into this real quick. Won't be before you too long. As I was saying before, praise Yah that we finally got a signal going. That seems to be half the battle now. If we can get a signal, we can start. But we want to talk, kind of jump into this Nikki Haley thing, and not sure once again if I spelled her name right. I got it on here as Nickyhaley. If you're on YouTube, I think that's how you spell her name. If it's not, please forgive me. That's not even her first name, by the way. That's actually her middle name. She's supposedly Native American, I guess. You know how that goes, but supposedly Native American. She talks about how she experienced racism and stuff, but she's very much so entrenched in the Republican Party. Now, this is part of the issue with the whole Republican Democrat thing. Once again, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm not looking to vote anybody into office. I could care less about who gets voted into office because they're not representing the kingdom, as we talked about earlier in Romans chapter 13, verses 1 through 10. If they don't represent the kingdom, they don't represent us. So that's not the point of view I'm coming from. However, is it not interesting that a Native American, Nikki Haley, would be the one to try and tell you guys that America has never been a racist country? Wow. In her diatribe, her endeavor to ensure that we don't recognize racism at all, she made it a point to tell people in the same breath that she said that the United States of America has never been a racist country. She also simultaneously then made it a point to say that she experienced racism growing up. Now, time out for the other stuff before we can get into the first things first. How do you say that America, the place that you're running for president in, and the place that you say is firmly entrenched, and obviously we know you're trying to get certain people who have always kept you in place and always kept you under wraps and kept you enslaved to a certain degree, and your people. Um, how you can say on one end that America has never been a racist country, but then in the same breath say you experienced racism growing up. All right, so right there we already know there's a problem. We don't have to go too much deeper. If you say that America's never been racist, then you could not have experienced racism in America, right? So that in and of itself, we can tell you talking out of both sides of your mouth. You're double-minded. You have cognitive dissonance, therefore meaning that you are somebody who we can't trust to give out proper information. Um, Whether we want to say it's ignorant, we know what time it is. Look, allegedly, this is me alleging. You can say allegedly. According to me, I am alleging. Right? I'm not saying it's well. Let me not do that. That gets you in trouble, right? I guess it seems like when you put things together that what the people allege about you, as far as you denying truth to be able to get a vote, it seems to be true. How you doing, Yasama? Let's say it like that. Can we say it like that? I think that's safe. It's for educational purposes only, anyways. But I think that's safe, right? That obviously you are willing to dance around truth off the table. Now, from what I comprehend, she's had to go from the state she was even over or part of to now try and go to another state. Just like you had to leave your people to be able to try and be accepted. And here's the deal: the only reason why she's even being accepted somewhat is because, and I'm gonna try to be careful. How you doing, Shima? I'm gonna try to be careful, but let's be honest. For whatever reason, we can go into a bunch of stuff. We don't have a lot of time today, but for whatever reason you want to put your hands on and take note of, how you doing, Sister Night? For whatever reason, white American women, supposedly, like, or white looking American women, and I'll go ahead and let you think of Nikki Haley, how white she is, how native she is, whatever. But white American women, or at least people who seem to fit that bill or look that way, they, for whatever reason, as of recently, especially with feminist movement and stuff, as much as Republicans say they don't like it, they seem to be the people that we're trying to look to be our moral compass, right? Including, think about it. If something's wrong, you can have we've seen, how many of you seen the videos where these women will get under, some of these women, not all, but some of these women will get under vehicles, right? And dare the vehicle to pull over them, or will get in front of vehicles and will cry out loud and scream and say, they're trying to hit me, he's trying to run me over. Or people who will say, why are you in my neighborhood, right? And all they have to do, right? And so all the neighborhood and everybody gets up in arms, even if she's way wrong in the way she does things. And if she's not getting what she wants, what does she need to do in order to get the person in trouble or whatever? What does she need to do? She needs to go ahead and give you crocodile tears. She gives you, forgive me, because I know there's sisters out there that are listening that we would put in the colonial construct of white or under that banner or whatever, but white tears. White women tears seem to get the job done, right? White tears is what gets you Emmett Till. White tears is what gets the little boy that recently that they redid the Emmett Till thing to all over again. You know, that's all it takes. How is it that you can go ahead and do this to me? And so that in and of itself should show us racism, that this woman who's not even white, but looks white enough, is somebody that will listen to as a moral compass. Meanwhile, whatever, and forgive me, I don't know the Indian man's name who's running for a Republican nominee, right? The guy was Trump everything and still trying to be Trump everything and then at the same time be anti-Trump. He's wicked and crooked too, but he at least makes more sense than Nicky does. But you know what? He went to, what state was it that they said he went to Iowa or something recently? And when he went to Iowa, oh, they reminded him, they were like, you look too close to, you remind us too much of them September 11th folk. Take with that what you will, right? But that's what happened, right? They made him look bad. They were like, we're not listening to you at all, right? They might as well just said, boy, on top of it, we ain't listening to you at all, boy, because you remind us too much of them folk, right? If not that, you look too black, you look too dark. We can't accept what you got to say. How you going to tell us some truth? He makes more sense than people give him credit for. Now he's still a liar, he's still wicked, he's still crooked, but he looked too much like the sect of people that in his country they wouldn't accept. They to call him untouchable, right? But they'll give Nikki Haley the time of day. You know what this reminds me though? Of how blatant you can be. Now, I don't know Nikki Haley. She seems to have more sense than this person. But you know who this really reminded me of? Because they just keep plugging people in. The Democratic Party, they gave you Hillary Clinton. Remember, she was somebody that she should have. They literally they gave her a softball pitch. She should have hit a home run, and she messed around and struck out, right? Because she didn't have the mindset together. They thought just because Bill Clinton was slick enough, she would be slick enough, and she wasn't. Remember, she was talking about to Charlemagne the God and to the Breakfast Club, whoever else she was with. It might have been just Charlemagne, and she was sitting there talking about she keeps hot sauce in the purse. Y'all remember that? Like, because that was going to get the black vote, right? That's how stupid these people think you are. You got to remind. I'm just saying, they think you that dumb. They think you're that stupid. I don't know what we're doing, trying to give them our vote, but you know that's what they were doing.
Have any chicken in there?
I mean, I don't know if black women carry chicken, or she probably would have. I don't know. Right? You know, she was sitting there talking about she got hot sauce and she carries different stuff in the purse. And that's not even the stuff that would got you to vote. There's other stuff they carry in the purse, if that's what you thought it was. But anyway, but they also, it reminds me of somebody even further back than that. What's her face? Sarah Palin. They doing the same thing, right? They couldn't get you to vote. And by the way, remember, what's his face? The guy who was actually an American hero, if you want to use such terms, McCain, right? McCain, who actually then was like, you know what, I'm gonna just go ahead and be bipartisan. McCain, when everybody was saying, hey, go against Obama and say that he stole the election, there's no way you lost like that. He was like, no, he won. Like that guy who actually has some kind of honor. You might not like his stance, right? But let's be real recognize real, honor recognize honor. That man was honorable. He didn't have to be, but he kept his honor. Right, even when Trump was out there dogging him out, even after he passed away, but while he's passing away, kept his honor about him. Right, that's one thing you can at least say is my man went out with honor. I can give him credit. Right, he's somebody who actually was a prisoner of war, all that stuff. Like, you know, give him credit where credit's due. He went out with honor, but nobody would vote for him because he was honorable. You know, when he lost, actually, I take that back. Let me switch this up. You remember when Donald, actually not Donald Trump. You remember when actually he started having problems with the vote? He went away from being honorable. That's what he lost. So for those of y'all, even though for real, he was never chosen. Obama was going to win. We know this, right? But let's just talk about as far as how easy it was to be able to sway the vote, right? He went from honorable to dishonorable Before, everybody loved him because he always told the truth. That's what got him the nominee, supposedly, was he's supposed to be the honorable stuff. But when he started running, here's the deal. They told him straight up, if you're going to run, we're going to run your campaign, and now you're going to have to do smear campaign stuff. You can't be somebody who honors people, who treats people with respect, who shows a certain decorum as far as what an officer of our military would show and all that. They said, no, we can't. We're not playing with all that. You're gonna be out here trying to make Obama look like a fool. You're gonna be out here saying racist stuff you never said before, and he didn't even look comfortable doing it. That's really what lost him the thing. He was so honorable, he couldn't even really bring himself to be like, yeah, I don't even hate black people like that. But he couldn't get it out his mouth. He said apparently Haley has lost primary to none of these candidates. Hey, I don't even know that part of it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I had to read up on that. But I was just saying, when I heard her say it and everybody was freaking out about it, it reminded me of how they got Sarah Palin to come in and be like, McCain, McCain is honorable. He ain't really somebody to just say some random stuff. And we need a white woman out here to make people say how progressive we are while simultaneously saying, right? While simultaneously saying, hey, black people ain't this, black people ain't that. And since she gets to be, watch this, because if a white woman is willing to submit to a white man, that's her place, right? That's what they do over there. And if that white woman will support that white man no matter what he says, then whatever she comes out of her mouth, it has to be there. And McCain would be sitting there shaking his head while Sarah Palin was saying some of the crazy stuff. But what can you do? That's the game you got to play, right? And so here's Nikki Haley. See, here's another thing you got to recognize. All these people that are running, DeSantis, I'm sorry, I forget the Indian person's name. Forgive me. Nikki Haley, I had forgotten her name until this evening, in all honesty, or a few hours ago. All these people that are running, they're all really running for second place. Donald Trump is going to win unless he actually gets arrested. Or, he's been arrested, I guess. Unless he actually goes to prison. He can go to jail. He can do all this stuff. Unless he actually goes to prison, he's going to win. As much as Republicans don't like him, he's going to win. Everybody's hoping that either they'll come in second place and Donald Trump will then look magnanimous enough in his forgiving of somebody to say, you can be my vice president, or everybody's hoping that if he gets put in prison, which he probably won't, but if it happens that he gets put in prison, because by now, look, we already know he's guilty of all the stuff they're saying. He's been guilty of this stuff for years, right? They just bring this stuff out as if he hasn't been robbing people for years, not paying contractors for years. This is stuff that's known. You go to Trump Hotel stuff in DC while they were building it back in the day, people were already having issues with Trump stuff back then. Okay. So this is not anything new. You go to the 90s, the 80s, people already know. You go to his father and them, people already know. This is something that they've done. But if he does go to prison, then everybody's hoping that they'll be the person everybody votes for. But right now, everybody's going for second place, or going for, let me get up high enough so that 4 years from then, hopefully they can run again and they can be high in people's eyes. That's it. And Nikki Haley is going to hit the same notes that makes people vote for Trump. And by the way, Trump is actually racist. I'm not going to hold you on that, but Trump is not as racist as what people think. Trump is just going to give you whatever it is to get a vote, right? And so Nikki Haley, she's going to do the same thing. Now, here's the thing I find more interesting in all this stuff than anything else. Nikki Haley is willing to literally deny United States history. And we know that this is what they do. But here it is now. Nikki Haley, watch this. Once again, how are you Native American, supposedly, right? Allegedly. How are you a Native American? You say that America has never been a racist country, and then say in the same breath, you dealt with racism growing up, but we're getting better. How do you deny your first name and not be known by your actual native name, but you'll be known as Nikki, right? How do you make it a point to keep saying that these things are there? You have to deny who you are. This is why voting and all this stuff is dangerous. It's like dating. Dating, you got to deny what you're trying to do. I want to be married one day, but I'm not trying to be a wife. I just want to be your girlfriend. It's like the same thing. I want to be in the kingdom. I want to be righteous, but I'm going to deny who I want to make sure that I stand up for the minority, but I can't stand up for the minority till I make it. But in order to make it, I have to get rid of so much of the minority in me that by the time I get into place, the only thing I can do is be absent of myself and still deny my people in order to stay in place. This is how you get Barack Obama, right? Who's been groomed, by the way, since he was young. But this is how you get a Barack Obama to come in there with a black wife to make sure that he's got a dark skinned wife, you know, mixed person himself, still looking African, still doing all this stuff, and make sure that he tells you, I'm not the black president, I'm not the white president, I'm the president. And you sit there and think that that's a righteous thing, when the reality is he's telling you, I'm not going to do anything for you. And he tells you straight up, I'm not going to do anything for the border. Right? Told you straight up, I'm not dealing with the border until I get to it, until I've been in at the end of my time in the White House. So on my 8th year, maybe I'll start trying to do something about the border. And then we didn't believe him when he said it. This is stuff that's set up. See, I think the issue with what Nikki Haley is saying is, I don't think she realizes she proves racism exists just because she'll literally redline herself. She'll redline her community. She'll redline her culture. She'll dismiss herself. She won't even say her name as long as it means she'll get voted in. I think that's more so the racism than anything else. I think she missed that part, is that she's racist against herself. She has to hate herself in order to be able to be loved enough to get a vote. Right? I think that within itself should show us we have a problem. Right? And a lot of us do that all the time. We will hate ourselves in order to get voted in by everybody else. We'll hate ourselves for that vindication we talked about a couple of days ago. You know, all the cop stuff that happens in LA that you read about, that you hear about, all that cop stuff that you hear in LA, that you hear about and read about. Oh, she's Indian. She's not Native American. Oh, okay, my bad. Then I'm off. My fault. My fault. Like I said, I don't really know. So
Has she experienced racism in India?
she says she's experienced it in America. I don't
I
know.
don't know.
But so my fault. If I'm way off on that, I didn't realize she's actually Indian. My bad. So, um, so, but hold on, where was I going? Oh, the racism, redlining against yourself. And, well, yeah, honestly, I think that's the hardest part, is I don't think people see that. And by the way, she comes from an Indian culture to where in India you have sects anyways, right? SECTS, right? And in this sect of people, even if that's where she comes from, she's been taught that colorism is necessary, right? That's where, what's her name comes from. That's why they try to get one on the Republican side now. Kamala Harris is Indian. Her family Caribbean, but Indian, right? Because people forget that Indians came over and they became like the next set of slaves to go with um, the natives, the Omekshi, and the Africans that were there, and the Maroons and stuff. And the next you had, the Indians that came over and they got jacked up. But once they got freed up or whatever, then they used us against each other again. Just like they do in the United States of America, or they do in England, or they do in Australia, they do in South Africa, same stuff, right? And at some point, we just have to realize the whole system is what it is. It's racist. Period. This is how you can have a bunch of black people. I don't care what color. You can have a bunch of black people, Indian people. Oh, that's where I was going. L.A. In L.A., who are the people who beat people more in L.A. than anybody else, as far as police officers? Guess what their background is. Who do you think are the people that beat more whites, black, Indian, Spanish, Mexican, whatever? Who do you think beats more people on the police force in LA than anybody else?
India?
Mm-mm. Even though it wouldn't be surprising if they
Mexican.
were up there. Yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, Mexicans. Mexicans who don't want to be known as Mexican. They actually have gotten in trouble. They actually have gotten that. You know that they've started. They have gangs. They have gangs within the police force in LA. It's a big deal. It's a huge problem. The police chief won't deal with it. They think he might be a gang member, but they won't deal with it. They haven't dealt with it for 30, 40 years now. And they have Mexican gangs where people get tattoos, they get Nazi symbols and stuff like that on there, and they themselves believe themselves to be white, or at least white enough. They the light skin, or they're white enough, and they do not speak with the accent anymore like the other ones do. So they go around to Mexican hoods. They go to their own hoods first. Yeah, they'll go to us too, but they'll go to their own, and they got to be beat in or jumped in. Like everybody gets beat in or jumped in. They got to off somebody. They got to off somebody of their own usually to be able to get in. The same country that this be nice, this woman, um will tell you that there's no racism in. And when people say that, will tell you, oh no, you're looking into it too much. Meanwhile, the people who live there in LA are saying, yeah, man, I'll deal with the white officer way before I deal with the Mexican one. Matter of fact, some of them tell you go to the hood in LA, go to Skid Row. They'll tell you they'll deal with the white officer before they deal with the black officer. Because the white officer doesn't have to do extra stuff to go ahead and be known as an officer. He just white. The black officer, he got to do some stuff. Go to prisons. Well, don't go there in certain under certain conditions. But if you happen to be in a prison or you're helping out with a prison situation, right? You will discover that COs, black COs, the correctional officers, they're worse than the white ones.
Mm-hmm.
You'll discover that female COs are worse than the male COs.
Yep. Black police officers are a lot of times worse.
Because you got to do it. It's like back in the day. Remember, if you was at for black folk in certain areas, y'all know what I'm talking about when I'm about to say this. If you saw a group of folk walking around and they supposed to be, hood, whatever, they supposed to be thugs, street N-words, all that stuff, and you see a white dude in that group, the white dude is the worst one in the group because the stuff he had to do to get in the group is far beyond the other ones. He had to go far and beyond to prove that he was down with the brothers. It's the same in reverse, right? I've been a token, right? I didn't quite go to the level of token they wanted me to, but I've been a token before. In order to get in the group, you got to go through stuff that other people don't go through, so that you'll be accepted. Or look at the police officers. If you the token, if you the black dude in the police force, y'all got to do some crazy stuff so that they go, oh, okay, you're cool with us because you'll deny yourself, you'll beat your own, you'll take the life of your own. You'll put in, you'll put in fake codes so that we don't, so that we don't operate it as a 187 and you're the one that committed the 187. I tried to use a code everybody familiar with. If you're not, that's murder, right? Somebody 187, well, is a murder since somebody lost their life? Probably somebody lost their life, right? It's been a while since I've used codes, but y'all know, right? I try to use that one because y'all know Snoop, right? It's the 187 for the undercover cop, right? I try to use that. But anyways, so just want to kind of talk about it. When you hear this stuff, it's just more the same, and we really don't have to get too riled up about it. At the end of the day, it is what it is. We know what time it is, right? We know that when we walk in the group, people stare in a way that they don't stare when the others walk in the group. We know that when we speak with authority, other people get frustrated. That was your source too, yeah, right. We know this stuff. So at the end of the day, if that's what she's gonna say, if that's what timing she on, it's just more of the same. But I was more interested in the fact that I don't even think she sees the racism that she has to stop being herself authentically in order to be accepted. Because if there's no racism, then just accept her for the Indian that she is. But she can't even accept it. And she has to make sure that she does as much as she can. And interesting enough, if she's Indian and dude's Indian, so if they're both Indian, it's interesting because she look white and he looks black. And they won't listen to him, although he makes more sense, but they'll listen to her while she literally is following her words. Right. So anyways, it's just kind of discussion tonight. I don't know if I really said anything that is super whatever, but just wanted to kind of bring some stuff out that I thought was interesting and listening to it. Like I said, we won't be on here all night. We got to get ready to get on the road. Thank you guys for your time. Thank you for your attentiveness. Prayerfully, we'll see you guys tomorrow in the AM. Um, young Master Solomon did have a chance to put out a video on his YouTube channel, so we made sure it's out there for you guys. I think it's on actually, I got to double check. We'll make sure before I get on the road, before we pull off, that you can see it on Patreon, and then everybody else, you should see it on TikTok, and we'll make sure we put the link on our on Kofi on the hashtag Find Kofi YouTube channel for you guys to look at. So if you got children, if you guys are subscribed to his channel, we think you'll like this one. Very short but very classy. He did an excellent work presenting some Langston Hughes stuff to you guys that we think you'll enjoy, and he enjoyed. So thank you, and thank you again, Solomon. Excellent work again. Appreciate you. So, so anyways, thank you guys for being on. I thank you all. Take care. We give all honor and praise to the Most High. Be safe in your travels. We're praying that everybody make it safely. Once again, pray for Minister Stephen and his family. Pray for Minister Tamara and her family. Pray for Minister Yasav and his family. And we're thankful and grateful. There are many that we can pray for, of course, still. But hopefully we'll see you guys very soon. So thank you again for being with us. As always, Oh, we give all praise and honor to the Most High. Yahweh Elohim. We give all praise and honor to Him for my wife, the Honorable Maya, who lives a life that's able to be honored. You can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A-N-D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist, biologist by degree. Don't forget to go ahead and make sure, too, if you can, that you join up with her WhatsApp group if you're able to. And if you need more information, just reach out to us. We'll give it to you. I'll try to make sure I post it in different platforms so you guys can have the link to, or the the link to it. And then that's it. Thank you again. Appreciate you. And until next time, remember as always, your hustle that you are loved, you're necessary, you're majestic, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in this system no longer have to be of it. Shalom, family. Peace. Take care. Thank you.